Well, alright, guys, how are you all doing tonight? This is Luke back here with yet another album review. Tonight we'll be reviewing Deicides Once Upon the Cross, released on April 18th, 1995 on Roadrunner Records. The sample at the beginning of the opening track, Once Upon the Cross, and the track Trick or Be Trade are taken from the film The Last Temptation of Christ, actually. So I found that to be pretty fucking cool. Now, the lineup of this album consists of Glenn Benton on bass and vocals, Eric and Brian Hoffman on guitar, Steve Asham on drums, and Deicide and Scott Burns on production. Now, without further ado, let's get into the biography of this band, as I always do, because I really like going into depth for these reviews for you guys. Now, Deicide is an American death metal band formed in 1987 by drummer Steve Asham and guitarist brothers Eric and Brian Hoffman as Carnage, then hiring bassist/vocalist Glenn Benton and becoming Amon. They would later change their band name to Deicide in 1989. The band rose to mainstream success in 1992 with their second album, Legion, and is credited as the second best-selling death metal band as the SoundScan era, after Cannibal Corpse. Since their debut album in 1990, Deicide has released 12 studio albums, 1 live album, 2 compilation albums, and 2 live DVDs. In November 2003, their first 2 albums, Deicide and Legion, were ranked 2nd and 3rd place respectively in the best-selling death metal albums of the Scandinavian area. Deicide is known for their lyrics, which cover topics such as Satanism, anti-Christianity, and blasphemy. Their lyrics have resulted in bans, lawsuits, and criticism from religious groups and the public. Now, with this being said, this is my favorite Deicide album, contrary to popular belief, I know. I feel like Deicide has had the anger in this album, and I can just feel it all around. Some people like to consider this album a lazy work, but I honestly have to disagree, as some things do get repetitive, yes, I know, but I honestly think this is no slack of an album for the band. The message that Glenn Benton tries to get across in this album comes off as clear as day just by the song titles alone. Now, that all being said, let's get into this review. To kick off this album, we have the title track, Once Upon the Cross, which brings us right into the brutal action of this album. It's heavy and effective. This one seems to be about trying to force your beliefs onto other people, and Glenn Benton just isn't having it. Now, next up, we got the track Christ Denied, which continues the heaviness of this album, all about pissing off the religious people and questioning their ideas and beliefs. Next, we got the track When Satan Rules His World, which is all about saying when Satan rules his world, there will be disease, violence, war, hate, anger, ignorance, and fighting. Hey, that's not very much different than nowadays, huh? We need to start worrying about earth and less more about heaven and hell. Our earth will become our own hell. At least that's what I took from this one. Next up, we got the track Kill the Christian. Now, if this is not a controversial title and very straightforward, I don't know what is. Keep in mind, though, Glenn Benton isn't being serious with most of this stuff. He just says things to express his anger at the hypocrisy of religion. This is a killer fucking track, though, as well. Next, we got the track Trick or Be Trade, which is my personal favorite track on this album. This one gets me going every fucking time. It makes me want to hop in a pit and start moshing right away. It's very fucking brutal. Now, I personally disagree with the meaning of this song, pretty much saying that there is no God, but the devil exists somehow. It doesn't make sense to me, and personally I gotta disagree with this one, even though it's such a killer track. But we all know Glenn Benton isn't gonna let up on his views anytime soon, no matter what the hell I say. Now, the track They Are the Children of the Underworld, which is more of a filler track, I feel like, for this album, but it still is a heavy as fuck and really fucking effective track. Next up, we got the track Behind Thou Light Shall Rise, which enforces the things he was saying earlier in this album and continues the speed and heaviness. Great drum work, guitar, and bass work, as well as vocals, of course. And next up, we got the track To Be Dead, which seems to be about dying and being sent to hell and describing what looking up at Earth is like. And finally, we have the track Confessional Rape, which ends this brutal anti-Christ hatred. This is probably my second favorite track on the album, and this song basically just speaks for itself. To sum this album up, Deicide is the one man's crusade against Christianity. Glenn Benton has never been subtle about his hatred for God and all that nonsense people take so seriously. With Once Upon the Cross, it seems to be the most fuck you album from Deicide. I mean, just take a look at the song names, the lyrics, and that insane album cover. They knew it was bound to piss a lot of people off. The music on here is just flat out amazing. They Are the Children of the Underworld still remains one of the heaviest songs ever written, in my opinion. That riff is so beyond heavy, like a lot of riffs on here. The title track also delivers in the insanely heavy department. The songs have a lot of thrash parts, like the awesome one in Kill the Christian, and plenty of blast beats. I actually think that this is Deicide's best album by far. Maybe because they changed it up a lot on this album in terms of the drumming and guitar riffs. The riffs are so incredibly heavy that it is not hard to love this album at all. When Satan Rules His World is another amazing song with yet another big surprise, amazingly heavy riff. Production on here is one word: perfect. The guitars are probably the heaviest that have ever been. The drums are fucking fantastic, and none of them get lost behind the guitars, and they sound amazing. Glenn's vocals are in top form here. Not a lot of layering on his vocals, thankfully. He is a good enough vocalist on his own. He doesn't need to do anything to them. His growls are as low as ever, and his screams are as evil as all hell as well. Even the bass is audible on here. This is a plus because it makes it sound even heavier. Glenn isn't what I would call an outstanding bass player by any means, but he sure does get the job done for Deicide. With that all being said, this is my favorite Deicide album by far. Everything about this album is great, and I hope that you will agree with me. I do feel like this album could be a lot better, though. That's criticism I have towards it. I don't agree with all the beliefs on this album, because I honestly think some of them are stupid. However, I still got to give this album a solid 8 out of 10, just like I was just saying. Probably my favorite from Deicide thus far. Now, in my opinion, the best tracks on this one are When Satan Rules His World, Trick or Betrayed. That's another amazing one. That's my favorite. And They Are the Children of the Underworld. And when this will wrap us up for yet another album review in the books here on the channel. If you would like to see me review any other bands or albums, link them down in the comments below. I am open to all genres of metal except for core. Don't send that stupid bullshit. And if you would like to join me or Chaos's Discord server, links for that will also be down in the description below. I really hope you guys are enjoying these reviews. I'm trying hard on them, and I fucking love making them. And with that, this has been Luke. Have a good rest of your night, and don't forget to stay fucking metal. Cheers.